Hello everyone, my name is Jan Hong. I am from Vietnam. This is part 5 of the 1000 Why questions. Thank you all for your support. It truly means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Have you ever asked yourself why you fear pain more than staying stuck? Why you'd rather feel nothing at all than risk feeling something difficult? It's a strange trade-off, isn't it? We avoid suffering at all costs, yet in doing so, we often choose a life that feels stagnant and empty. We resist the lessons hidden in our struggles, seeing pain not as a teacher, but as a punishment. We convince ourselves that discomfort is the enemy, even when we know deep down that it's the very thing that helps us grow. We run from emotional pain straight into the arms of numbness and emptiness, believing it's a safer place to be. But is it really? This dance of avoidance is something we all do. We choose to escape rather than endure. We numb ourselves with distractions instead of allowing ourselves to truly heal. We're terrified of breaking down, of falling apart, because we've been taught that showing vulnerability is a sign of weakness. We build walls around our hearts, thinking they'll protect us, but they only end up isolating us from the very experiences that make us human. Think about it. Why do you run from the very feelings that signal something in your life needs attention? Why do you choose the familiar ache of stagnation over the sharp but temporary pain of growth? The truth is, pain is a messenger. It arrives to tell us something is wrong, something needs to change, or something needs to heal. When we ignore it, when we numb it, we're essentially shooting the messenger. We're refusing to listen to our own inner wisdom. The discomfort we feel when we step outside our comfort zone is not a sign to retreat. It's a sign that we are expanding, that we are becoming more than we were before. Enduring the temporary pain of a workout builds physical strength. In the same way, enduring emotional discomfort builds resilience, wisdom, and character. So the next time you feel the urge to escape or numb a difficult feeling, pause for a moment. Ask yourself what this pain is trying to teach you. What if, instead of running from it, you leaned into it just a little? What if you allowed yourself to feel it, knowing that on the other side of that feeling is not destruction, but a stronger, more authentic version of you? Now let's talk about failure. Why does it have such a powerful grip on us? For so many, failure isn't just an event. It becomes an identity. We don't just think, I failed at this task. We think, I am a failure. We take it so personally, as if a single misstep reveals some fundamental flaw in our character. We fear being exposed, of having our imperfections laid bare for the world to see. And what's the result? We stop trying. We avoid taking risks, especially the ones that truly matter to us, because the fear of failing is just too overwhelming. We start to see mistakes not as learning opportunities, but as indictments of our worth. We equate failure with worthlessness, a dangerous equation that can paralyze us. This fear keeps us playing small, staying within the safe, predictable lines of our lives, even when our hearts are calling us to venture out. We let our past failures write our future story. We replay old losses in our minds like a broken record, each replay reinforcing the belief that we're not good enough, that we're destined to fail again. We cling to the shame of past mistakes, refusing to let it go, allowing it to become a heavy anchor that holds us back. But what if we could reframe our relationship with failure? What if we saw it not as an end point, but as a data point? Every successful person you admire has a long list of failures they had to overcome to get where they are. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of the journey to success. It's proof that you're in the arena, that you're trying, that you're daring greatly. Taking failure personally is like blaming the ground for tripping. The event happened, but it doesn't define the essence of who you are. Your worth is inherent and unchangeable. It is not tied to your accomplishments or your setbacks. So how do we begin to untangle our identity from our failures? It starts with self-compassion. When you make a mistake, treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a good friend. Acknowledge the disappointment, but don't marinate in it. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this experience make me better, smarter, or stronger? By shifting your focus from shame to learning, you transform failure from a weapon you use against yourself into a tool you use for your own growth. Let go of the need to be perfect. Embrace the messy, imperfect, and beautiful process of trying, failing, and trying again. Your past does not have to be your prison. You have the power to decide what your story will be from this moment forward. This brings us to the heart of the matter, resilience. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain or never failing. It's about how we respond when we do. It's about getting back up after we've been knocked down, not just once, but over and over again. Why is this so hard? Because we fear breaking. We're afraid that if we let ourselves feel the full weight of our pain or our failure, we will shatter into a million pieces and never be whole again. We see falling apart as the ultimate catastrophe, the point of no return. But here's a radical thought. What if falling apart is not the end, but a necessary beginning? What if breaking down is actually a breakthrough in disguise? Sometimes the structures we've built in our lives, our beliefs, our habits, our identities are no longer serving us. They're too rigid, too small. And sometimes they need to crumble so that we can build something new, something more aligned with who we are truly meant to be. Think of it like a forest fire. It looks like total destruction, but it's a vital part of the ecosystem. It clears away the old, dead undergrowth to make way for new life to sprout. In the same way, our breakdowns can clear away the limiting beliefs and emotional baggage that have been holding us back. The fear of breaking is the fear of the unknown. We know how to exist within our current framework, even if it's painful or unfulfilling. The idea of that framework dissolving is terrifying, but resilience is built in that space of uncertainty. It's the faith that even if you fall apart, you have the capacity to put yourself back together, stronger and wiser than before. You are not as fragile as you think. You have survived every single one of your worst days so far. That is a testament to your inherent strength. So the next time you feel the cracks beginning to show, the next time you feel like you're about to fall apart, try not to fight it so hard. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that this is not the end. This could be the moment your life truly begins to change for the better. This could be your breakthrough. Allow yourself the grace to be messy, to be in process, to be a work in progress. Because it's in the rebuilding that we discover what we're really made of. True resilience is not about being unbreakable. It's about knowing that even when you break, you can heal. Let's talk about something we all do, but rarely admit. We punish ourselves for far too long. We make a mistake, we face a failure, and instead of learning and moving on, we build a little house in that moment of pain and decide to live there. Why do we do this? Why do we punish ourselves longer than needed? Why do we cling to regret like it's a life raft when really it's an anchor? We get stuck in the land of what if. What if I had done this differently? What if I had said something else? This endless loop of questioning doesn't change the past. It only steals the present and poisons the future. We resist forgiving ourselves, acting as our own harshest judge and jury. It's almost as if we start to identify with our pain. It becomes a part of who we are, a familiar, albeit uncomfortable, companion. And this leads to a strange and paradoxical fear, the fear of healing. We get so used to the landscape of our hurt that the idea of a new, healthier terrain feels foreign and scary. What would it mean to let go of this? Who would I be without this story of suffering? It's a bizarre thought, but we can become afraid of getting stronger, afraid of outgrowing the wounds that have defined us for so long. We hold on to suffering because, in a twisted way, it feels safe. It's the devil we know. In some cases, we even start to romanticize our pain. We see it as a mark of depth, of a life lived intensely. We convince ourselves that there's something beautiful about our brokenness. This mindset is a trap. It keeps us from embracing resilience, from discovering the incredible strength that lies within us. We become afraid to stand back up after we've been knocked down. We fear the very idea of trying again, because what if we fall once more? This fear metastasizes. After a significant loss, we become scared of hope. We think, what's the point of hoping if things could just fall apart again? It feels safer to expect the worst. We lose our trust in life itself, viewing it as an adversary just waiting to trip us up. We build walls around our hearts, vowing never to open up again. After being hurt, vulnerability feels like the most dangerous thing in the world. The thought of letting someone in, of being seen in our entirety, is terrifying. So we close ourselves off. We fear love after experiencing pain, because our minds immediately jump to the potential for more heartache. We fear joy after a season of grief, feeling almost guilty for smiling. We fear happiness after a long period of suffering, as if we don't deserve it, or as if it's just a temporary illusion that will soon be snatched away. These fears are heavy chains. They keep us tethered to a past that no longer exists and prevent us from stepping into a future that could be filled with light and growth. The first step to breaking these chains is to acknowledge them. To look at these questions not as accusations, but as invitations. An invitation to understand yourself more deeply. Why do I hold on to regret? Perhaps because I believe I need to be punished. But what if that's not true? What if self-compassion is the real key to growth? Why do I fear healing? Maybe because the identity I've built around my pain feels too significant to let go of. But who could I become without it? Someone stronger, freer, more alive. The fear of trying again is really the fear of disappointment. But what is the alternative? Staying down forever. That's a guaranteed failure. Trying again offers at least a chance at success, at a different outcome. The fear of vulnerability is the fear of being hurt. But a life without vulnerability is a life without connection, without true intimacy, without love. It's about making a conscious choice. A choice to stop punishing yourself. A choice to practice self-forgiveness, even when it feels unnatural. A choice to see your wounds not as your identity, but as part of your story, a chapter, not the entire book. You can learn from them, you can grow from them, and you can move past them. Healing is not about forgetting what happened. It's about integrating it into your life in a way that no longer causes you constant pain. It's about allowing yourself to feel joy again, to hope again, to love again. It's about trusting that you are resilient enough to handle whatever life throws your way. You've survived everything you've been through so far. That's not a sign of weakness. It's a testament to your incredible strength. So the next time you find yourself stuck in what if, gently guide yourself to what now. What can I do now to move forward? What small step can I take toward healing today? It might be as simple as taking a deep breath and allowing yourself a moment of peace. It might be reaching out to a friend or a professional for support. Remember, if you're struggling with these feelings, talking to a mental health professional can provide you with tools and a safe space to navigate your healing journey. You are not defined by your pain. You are defined by your capacity to heal, to grow, and to stand back up. Why do I run from pain? Why do I spend so much energy avoiding the very feelings that make me human? These are questions I've asked myself, and maybe you have too. We build these walls around our hearts thinking we're protecting ourselves, but what are we really doing? We're just trapping ourselves inside with the very things we fear. Think about it. Why do I suppress my emotions? From a young age, many of us are taught to be strong, which often gets misinterpreted as being emotionless. Don't cry. Don't be angry. Don't be sad. So we learn to push it all down. We become experts at wearing a mask, smiling when we want to scream, saying, "I'm fine," when we're falling apart. We start to fear feeling fully because we've been told our full range of emotions is too much. This fear branches out. Why do I fear tears? Because I was taught they are a sign of weakness. Why do I fear sadness? Because I worry it will consume me, that if I let it in, I'll drown in it. Why do I fear anger? Because I've seen it be destructive, and I'm scared of my own power, scared of what might happen if I let it out. And grief? Grief is the ultimate unknown. It's the raw, unfiltered acknowledgement of loss, and who wants to face that? So what happens? We end up fearing our own emotions. The sadness, the anger, the grief, they become monsters under the bed. We avoid our emotional truth, creating a story that feels safer, more palatable. We tell ourselves we're over it, that it doesn't bother us anymore. We run from our inner world, filling our lives with distractions, work, social media, endless to-do lists, anything to avoid the silence where our true feelings live. We become fugitives from ourselves, and in doing so we delay our own healing. We postpone recovery. We tell ourselves we'll deal with it later, when we're stronger, when we're more prepared. We keep waiting to feel ready to heal. But here's the secret. You're never truly ready. Healing isn't a destination you arrive at when conditions are perfect. It's a journey you start from right where you are, mess and all. There's this common misconception, this myth that we cling to, the idea that time heals all wounds. Why do I believe time heals without effort? It's a comforting thought, isn't it? That if we just wait long enough, the pain will magically disappear. But time alone doesn't heal. Time just creates distance. Healing requires our active participation. It requires us to show up, to do the work, to face the discomfort. Without that effort, time just buries the wound under layers of scar tissue, leaving it to fester underneath. This resistance to healing often extends to how we interact with others. Why do I resist support? Why do I fear asking for help? For many of us, it goes back to that same old story. I have to be strong. We see asking for help as an admission of failure. We believe we must suffer alone, that our pain is a burden no one else should have to carry. We isolate ourselves in our pain, convinced that no one could possibly understand what we're going through. This is one of the most dangerous lies we tell ourselves. We equate strength with silence. We think that by not speaking about our pain, we are being resilient. But true strength isn't about enduring pain in solitude. True strength is having the courage to be vulnerable, to reach out and say, I'm not okay, and I need help. It's the courage to show your wounds instead of hiding them. Why do I hide my wounds? Because I'm afraid of judgment. I'm afraid people will see me as broken, as damaged goods. We live in a world that celebrates perfection, so we curate our lives to look flawless. We post our highlight reels and hide the behind-the-scenes struggles, but our wounds are not shameful. They are a part of our story. They are proof that we have lived, that we have fought, and that we have survived. So let's start asking a new set of questions. What if I welcomed my pain as a teacher? What if I allowed myself to feel every emotion without judgment? What if I saw my tears not as weakness, but as a release? What if I learned to channel my anger into positive change? What if I honored my grief as a testament to my love? What if I stopped running from my inner world and instead chose to explore it with curiosity and compassion? What if I started the healing process today, right now, without waiting to feel ready? What if I accepted that healing is an active process and committed to doing the work? And most importantly, what if I rejected the idea that I must suffer alone? What if I reached out for support, knowing that vulnerability is the foundation of connection? What if I redefined strength not as silence, but as the courage to speak my truth? What if I stopped hiding my wounds and started seeing them as badges of honor, a testament to my resilience? Changing these beliefs is not easy. It's a process of unlearning decades of conditioning, but it is possible. It starts with awareness. It starts with asking these hard questions and being honest with yourself about the answers. Your pain, your failures, your struggles, they are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of your resilience. They are the fuel that can propel you into a more authentic, more connected, and more whole version of yourself. Let's talk about something we all face but rarely discuss openly, the fear of healing. It sounds strange, doesn't it? Why would anyone fear getting better? But if you've been through real pain, you know it's not that simple. Today, we're diving deep into the resistance we feel towards our own recovery, our own resilience. This is part 5 of our journey, pain, failure, and resilience. Let's start with a question. Why do I fear transforming pain into wisdom? Pain teaches us, that's what they say. But what if the lesson makes you different? What if you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back? There's a fear of becoming deeper, of losing a certain lightness you once had. We worry that hardship will shape us into someone serious, someone who can't just be carefree anymore. We fear the growth that is earned through suffering, because maybe, just maybe, we don't want the badge of honor that comes with it. We just want the pain to go away without the transformation. This leads to a really strange attachment. Why do I cling to the person I was before I was hurt? That version of me seems so innocent, so untouched by the world's harsh realities. Letting go of that person feels like a betrayal. It feels like admitting the pain won, that it changed me permanently. so we resist. We resist the rebirth that healing offers. We fear becoming new, because what if the new me is someone I don't like? What if the new me is someone others don't like? This fear is powerful. It's the fear of letting the old me die. We hold a funeral in our minds for the person we could have been, and we visit that grave every single day, refusing to walk away and live. And so we arrive at the core of it. Why do I fear healing fully? Because full healing means there are no more excuses. It means the pain no longer gets to be the reason you don't chase your dreams, the reason you keep people at a distance, the reason you don't take risks. When you're fully healed, you have to be fully accountable for your life again, and that is terrifying. The pain, in a twisted way, becomes a comfort zone. It's familiar, the unknown landscape of a life without that constant ache. That's the real wilderness. This fear manifests in our daily choices. Ask yourself, why do I avoid the choices that build resilience? We know what they are. Getting up early, exercising, eating right, journaling, facing difficult conversations. These are the bricks and mortar of a strong mind and spirit. Yet we so often choose comfort over strength. We hit the snooze button. We scroll instead of stretch. We opt for the easy distraction over the hard work of discipline that heals. Why? Because comfort is now and strength is later. Our brains are wired for immediate gratification, for a quick hit of dopamine that numbs the discomfort for a little while. And this brings us to responsibility. Why do I avoid responsibility for my own recovery? It's so much easier to blame the person who hurt us, the circumstances, the world. Taking responsibility means acknowledging that while the pain may not have been our fault, the healing is 100% our job. No one is coming to save us. No one can do the internal work for us. That realization is heavy. It's a burden of its own. It means we have to show up for ourselves, even on the days we don't want to, even on the days it feels impossible. This is where the timeline of healing becomes a major hurdle. We live in an instant world. Instant coffee, instant messages, instant entertainment. So naturally, we want instant relief from our pain. We want a magic pill, a weekend retreat, a single therapy session that will fix everything. But that's not how it works. So we must ask, why do I fear long-term healing? Why do I fear the patience it requires? The truth is, we are terrified of gradual progress. We want to see a huge leap forward every single day. When we don't, we get discouraged. We think it's not working. That slow, almost invisible, day-by-day healing feels like failure. It feels like we're stuck. This impatience, this desire for a quick fix is a form of self-sabotage. We resist slow healing because it demands something from us we are afraid to give. Commitment. A long-term commitment to ourselves. Why do I avoid committing to my own healing? Because commitment means there's no turning back. It means you have to keep going even when it gets messy, even when old wounds resurface, even when you feel like you've taken 10 steps back. It's easier to dip a toe in the water of healing and pull it back when it feels too cold than to dive in and commit to swimming to the other side, no matter what. Think about it. We're asking our minds and bodies to rewire years, sometimes decades, of conditioning and trauma. It's like turning a giant ship. It doesn't happen with a flick of the wrist. It requires a slow, steady, persistent pressure on the rudder. Each small, positive choice is a tiny turn of that wheel. getting out of bed when you want to hide, reaching out to a friend when you want to isolate, choosing a healthy meal when you crave junk, saying no to a commitment that drains you. These aren't glamorous, heroic acts. They are the quiet, unseen, everyday battles that, when won consistently, lead you to a new shore. So what's the path forward? It begins with acknowledging these fears without judgment. It's okay to be afraid of becoming a new person. It's okay to be scared of the responsibility. It's okay to be impatient. Acknowledge the fear and then do the brave thing anyway. Tell yourself, I am afraid, and I am still going to choose the path of resilience. Your journey to healing is not a race. There is no deadline. There is only the next right choice, right in front of you, the next small act of courage, the next moment where you choose strength over comfort, patience over panic, and commitment to yourself over the seductive pull of the familiar past. The version of you that exists beyond this pain is waiting. They are not a stranger. They are you, wiser, stronger, and more whole than you can possibly imagine right now. Don't be afraid to meet them. Have you ever felt a strange hesitation, a fear of turning your deepest pain into a source of strength? It's a question many of us grapple with. Why do I fear turning pain into purpose? Why do I fear using my suffering in a meaningful way? It feels almost counterintuitive, doesn't it? To take something that broke you and use it to build something new. There's a fear in helping others with my pain, a fear of sharing my story. It's like standing on a stage with a spotlight on all your scars. We worry about being seen as broken, as if our past defines our present. We fear being known only through our pain, a label we can never shake off. But what if that's not the whole story? Why do I fear the strength that is forged only in suffering? Why do I fear the wisdom that can only be earned through loss? These are not signs of weakness. They are badges of survival, of a deep, hard-won power. There's a part of us that fears becoming resilient, because it means acknowledging how much we had to endure to get there. It's a fear of my own power after the pain, the power that comes from knowing you can walk through fire and emerge on the other side. This fear can keep us stuck. It makes us ask, why do I still carry wounds that could heal? Why do I resist closing old chapters of my life? It's a strange comfort in the familiar ache. We find ourselves reliving the pain unnecessarily, almost on a loop, as if to remind ourselves of what we went through. Why do I keep these wounds open? It's often because the scar is a reminder, a proof of the battle we fought. And with that comes a deep fear of closure, a fear of moving on. Because if we move on, what does that say about the person we were? Does it invalidate the struggle? This leads to an even more perplexing fear, the fear of peace. Why do I fear peace? Why do I fear stability after a lifetime of chaos? It's like a sailor who has spent so long in a storm that the quiet of a calm sea feels unnatural, even threatening. We get so used to fighting, to bracing for the next hit, that a state of calm feels wrong. We fear a healed life because we don't know who we are without the fight. We don't recognize ourselves in the stillness. But let's pause and reframe this. What if turning pain into purpose isn't about forgetting, but about honoring? What if using suffering meaningfully is the ultimate act of rebellion against what tried to break you? Sharing your story isn't about being seen as broken. It's about being seen as a survivor, a guide. Your story could be the map someone else desperately needs to navigate their own darkness. The strength forged in suffering isn't a brand of damage. It's a testament to your spirit's incredible ability to endure and rebuild. The wisdom earned through loss makes you a source of empathy and understanding in a world that desperately needs it. Embracing resilience doesn't mean you're inviting more pain. It means you trust yourself to handle whatever comes next. And that power you feel after pain, that's not something to be afraid of. That's your birthright, reclaimed. It's the proof that you are more than what happened to you. So, how do we begin to heal? It starts by giving ourselves permission. Permission to close old chapters without feeling like we're erasing them. The stories will always be a part of us, but they don't have to be the only story we tell. We can learn to stop reliving the pain and start learning from it. Instead of keeping wounds open as a reminder, we can let them heal into scars. Scars don't mean you're broken. They mean you're a fighter. They are proof that you healed. Closure isn't about forgetting. It's about accepting. It's about taking the lessons and leaving the weight behind. And moving on isn't a betrayal of your past self. It's a gift to your future self. It's choosing to believe that you deserve more than just survival. And what about that fear of peace? The fear of calm? We have to learn to sit in it, to let stability be our new normal. It might feel uncomfortable at first, like trying on clothes in a style you've never worn, but slowly you get used to it. You start to realize that peace isn't the absence of everything. It's the presence of yourself. It's the space you need to finally breathe, to grow, to create. A healed life isn't a boring life. It's a life where you have the energy to pursue your passions, to love fully, to experience joy without waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's about rewriting your own narrative. You are not defined by your pain. You are defined by how you rise from it. You are the author of this next chapter. You get to decide if it's a story of being haunted by ghosts or a story of building a beautiful life, not in spite of your past, but because of the strength you found within it. Your pain does not have the final say. Your resilience does. Your courage does. Your hope does. If these feelings of fear and being stuck in the past feel overwhelming, please know that reaching out for help is a sign of incredible strength. Talking to a therapist or a counselor can provide you with the tools and support to navigate this journey toward healing. You don't have to do it alone. There are people who want to help you find that peace you so deeply deserve. End of part 5. Hello everyone, I'm Jan Hong. I'm from Vietnam. Thank you so much for your support. It truly means a great deal to me and is a huge source of encouragement. See you in part 6.